I hope um that I'm not getting any like bad noises from this, but I know I got like a bad like I mean the sun is it's hard to deal with lighting, but I'm moving soon hopefully. Um so I should be able to do this more in my own house. It's not even like I just don't like my house. I have the privacy to do it in my own house. Like there'll be no one home. I just like have like the mental inability to do things in my house right now. Like because we're like it's just anyway. Anyway, speaking of why I made this video, yo, I noticed that like the YouTube round, like on like the YouTube and the Twitter rounds, well, mostly Twitter, everyone's like bringing up like the 2 + 2 = 5 thing, and like I know that it's become a racial like joke and whatnot. Like meme is a better word. Meme is a better word than joke because not all memes are like innocent, but jokes are supposed to be innocent. So like I guess a meme is a better word, but um like the whole 2 + 2 = 5 thing never, like I don't get why it's associated with black people and not the Fairly Odd Parents. Cause like I swear to God, Crocker, there's a whole episode where like it was like I forgot why it was happening, but like Timmy Turner really did rewrite the rules of reality to like change math, and then like Crocker was like sitting here like trying to explain how 2 + 2 = fish or fairy or something, and like what I got from that, right, is that like as much as everyone thought Crocker was insane for saying 2 + 2 = fairy, he was 100% right about saying that, because like he's right about most of the things Timmy Turner does. He's right about fairy godparents, like not every time, but enough where he should have some respect for being right about it, but he doesn't. So like really, right? The context of me looking at this whole meme of 2 + 2 = 5 is isn't even isn't even from the context of math being racist, or even there being a level of inequality like in the education system that is forcing black people to be bad at math. No, like I just figured, right, like it's, how should I put this? It's just a group of people who are looking at the numbers, realize that something in society is bullshit, is trying to express that, and because the rest of society doesn't believe it, now it's become this entire meme, and anyone who brings it up, like I'm not like I don't think 2 + 2 = 5. I really don't. But right, if you have a banking system that is where if you have a banking system, right, and there's fraud in the banking system, then yeah, 2 + 2 can equal 5. That's how fraud works. So maybe, right, all these people saying 2 + 2 = 5 aren't trying to address or even say that math is wrong. Maybe they're just trying to address the fact that there's fraud happening in America. And I feel like anyone who is saying that fraud isn't happening is retarded. Like that's a retarded statement. You Bank of America has literally has court cases for fraud targeting black people. Like that's a literal thing. And most people, right, they kind of interact with numbers based on their bank account system. Like why do people need math on a day-to-day basis if they're not a trigonometry major? It's because they need to be able to do their money stuff. So if the bank is saying that, right, at the end of the day, your bank account, like it doesn't really matter how you got to the bank account, right? Like if I killed 1,000 people to get $1 million, at the end of the day I still have $1 million. Like it's that dark. It really is. Like the Bank of America is literally has criminal investigations out about them not giving money to black people. So really think about it. If like somebody's bank account could really be 2 + 2 = 5, because the courts are telling us that the Bank of America was doing shit like that to people. So like we can have a discussion about this. And I've seen discussions about this making fun of the 2 + 2 = 5 thing without it turning into a racial thing. Cause like like, how should I put this? Like, yeah, everyone likes to say that black people complain the most about nothing. It's a very common like complaint whenever racial issues get brought up. But, and I'm speaking about this like with the context of me talking about racial black and white things. Like, in the South, there are probably more poor white people than poor black people. Like, and whenever white people try to defend themselves against racism, they kind of bring up, like, you know, a perfect example of there being more, of me thinking there are more poor whites than poor blacks. Black people bring up crime statistics, right? Okay, whatever. White people have consistently, in a racial context, right? Like, I'm speaking in a racial conversation context, to defend against the, you know, the gun violence argument in a racial context, white people bring up that more gun violence happens to white people than to black people. Okay, now, right? If high levels of gun violence are a sign of like social instability or poverty, wouldn't that mean that more white people are living under poverty? And these white people are working minimum wage. I know, I'm ending this conversation on white people needing more minimum wage, because, like, bro, I've seen the theory. I know there's a theory out there that's like, oh, the minimum wage is only gonna help black people because they're gonna get the jobs and white people are gonna lose all their jobs, and because, like, social reset, whatever. Like, I've seen the theory. I understand the fears. I don't know what's going on. I am not, like, God. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, right? But what I think and what I feel is that a lot of white people who are poor are being told by a lot of richer white people that those rich white people will not pay higher raises to those poor white people, because at the end of the day, like, the GameStop employees still haven't been paid or had their minimum wage increased. The GameStop employees work on minimum wage. We have all these Bitcoin guys that made a killing off of GameStop fighting and demanding that we're not raising the minimum wage to 15, right? Like, that's a thing. Like, the Bitcoin community is definitely anti-15. But, like, and they made money off the backs of the hard work of the GameStop community, right? Like, GameStop wasn't able to benefit from that evaluations markup because they were a bad company. When we needed, listen, any GameStop employee who ever worked at a GameStop or had worked at a game store, you're my hero, bro. I'm a frontline worker, but you're my hero. When I was, like, depressed as fuck and I needed video games and hobbies and stuff like that to keep me going at work, like, you guys were there working, bro. You guys were in the stores working too. So, like, you're my hero. And you guys deserve 15. You guys didn't get 15, and the Bitcoin community made money off your backs. I highly doubt every single person that works for GameStop owns GameStop stock that benefited from the whole GameStop surge. So, like, so what? We can make money off the backs of the people who helped us, like, through our emotional turmoils, because that's, like, you're gonna sit here and tell me video games don't help people with their emotional problems? It helped me. So I can't sit here and like, see everyone making money off of GameStop and not advocate for a $15 minimum wage for the GameStop employee. Because, like, without that GameStop employee, without that video game employee, I wouldn't have video games, bro. I wouldn't have card games. I'd be depressed. I'd probably kill myself because I wouldn't have a hobby. Like, that's a real thing. Like, so, like, what are you guys what, like, white people? I'm talking to white people right now. Like, you guys think you're fighting black people when you're arguing for $15 minimum wage, but you're not. You're hurting yourselves, bro. Like I live in a black community. I've never been paid minimum wage by somebody from my black community. I'm being honest. Like, I've only been paid by white people minimum wage. Like, that's a real thing. And I think it's because they're in a poor economic situation, right? Cigar from the Hill says it all the time, that Trump went off the backs of the misery of the white working class. Well, I believe him. Why don't we give him $15 minimum wage? Why are white people arguing against black people for $15 minimum wage for everyone, including white people? If working class white people need that wage. That's why I don't like about the Democrats or the Republicans.